Hello friends, welcome back. Well, before I get started today, I need to say for legal reasons, I've changed the names in this video. Those who know they know who they are. But the point isn't the names, it's the system, the JWorg system, the practices, and the harm that they've caused. So, I don't know if you've noticed, but thanks to JM, Miss Usato on Twitter, she keeps us posted. There's a new article, JB on Twitter, not JM, JB on Twitter, Miss Usato. So thank you. And she pointed us to this new article. How do Jehovah's Witnesses treat those who used to belong to their religion? Well, folks, my story is quite a bit different than their story. I'll share my story today, but it doesn't match their narrative. So first of all, let's take a look at some of the claims they make. We'll go right to their website and see what they're saying. So here it is. If you go to their website, frequently asked questions. This is today's article. This is the latest release, just today. Here's what they're saying, and I believe this is all legalities for Norway. They're trying to re-emphasize what a soft religion they are and how they follow the Bible, but they don't shun that hard. So here's what they say. How did the witnesses treat those who used to belong to their religion? Well, here's where I lose it. They say they try to treat everyone. They strive to treat everyone with love, kindness, and respect. Do they strive? No. That's a lie. This is a bold outright. My experience, this is a complete lie. All those ex-JWs that stood up in Norway, complete lie. There's no love. There's no kindness. There's no respect. And I'm going to tell you my story because this just irritates me when I read this kind of nonsense on their website and how they're trying to push these lies. They're continuing to push these lies out, folks. We've seen it in Norway. We see it in all these court cases. They continue to push these lies out. And this is a call for action to all of us on the other side to get our story out there and counter these lies. Now, they talk about how their whole disfellowshipping works. Actions may lead to you being removed from the congregation. What leads to a person being removed? Well, it's mostly the bad stuff. For example, it lists adultery, drunkenness, murder, domestic abuse, and theft. What if you just walked out? That was my case. I just walked out. What if you just walked out? They don't talk about that here. They don't talk about that in court. In fact, they lie about that. If you just walked out, they say, it's no problem. You can visit with your family. You just walked out. However, we do not immediately remove from the congregation a person who has committed a serious sin. No sin. I just walked out. No sin. I'll tell my story in a bit. Now, they say this approach may move the wrongdoer to realize his mistakes and repent. Not at all. I wrote a 7-page letter to Bethel. I knew they got it because I sent it to the service desk. I was dealing with the service desk. I was doing unassigned territory in the Northwest Territories of Canada for 7 years. 7 years. And then one day that changed. The local body of elders said, no more. You are not allowed to preach in those territories. So I developed work contracts. Year after year, I'd go up and I'd bring other JWs with me, and we'd get the territories done. They said, no more. You can't preach in unassigned territories. You can go up there. I said, I have to go up there. I got these work contracts. They said, we don't care, but you can't preach. You can't go door to door. You can maybe talk to your return visit, but no preaching. That's a privilege. You have lost all of your privileges, Brother Hool. And I'll give you the story in a bit here. But they go on, when I read these articles, it just makes me livid. They're liars, complete liars. This is a very one-sided story for those that have left, like my ex-wife. She left, went back, left, went back, left, went back. I don't know how many times. She's like a yo-yo. And I don't know how many of you guys out there are yo-yos. And who's holding the yo-yo string? The governing body. And that's the hardest thing to realize. The very hardest thing to realize is that you've been fooled. It's easy to get fooled. JWorg's good at fooling all of us. But now to get out and to realize how they did it, and then to come back and try to tell you guys that's a hard thing to do. But all I can do is show you and tell you my experience and show you what they're putting into print, telling you guys out there. This is nonsense. Jehovah's Witnesses treat those who have been removed from the congregation. It says stop keeping company with them, not even eating with them. Do not socialize with someone who has been removed. However, we do not ignore him completely. We treat him with respect. He is welcome to attend our services. So I left, never attended a Kingdom Hall ever again. And they met with me. They sent out 2 elders, and I said, I'm not going back. I said, in my opinion, you elders work like scribes and Pharisees, just like in Jesus' day. And I gave the Bethel 7 pages of this stuff. I was in a congregation where an elder had slept with my ex-wife. She was disfellowshipped, he was disfellowshipped, but it's what led up to it. And it's how all the elders put those elders on high in their right hand. And then I get punished. I get punished for the deeds of my ex-wife, for the deeds of another elder. I get punished as a brother. So that's how they do it. So a person who is removed can request visits. Who the hell wants to go back after you experience elders and ministerial servants having phone sex and having sex with your ex-wife? Who would want to go back after dealing with all of that nonsense? And then the story I'm going to give you today is one I haven't told yet. It's about my daughter. And I'll tell you that in just a second. So how do those who were previously removed feel? We feel bitter. You see, they turn us into apostates. I left, minded my own business for 8 years, and then they tackled me. Then they targeted me. And that's what turns us into apostates, trying to defend ourselves. And then they give you a cease and desist letter. The story's wild. So they have all these fluffy little stories here. When I decided to return, this is what happened. And then this one, the congregation was looking forward to my return and I felt valued. And then this one is, I'm happy that Jehovah loves his people to see that his organization kept clean. You see, these are stories of people that wanted to go back. I didn't want to go back. And then after I was harassed by these JWs, these elders, that's when I went sideways. I wrote a book and started this channel. JWorg, they create us. They mold us. They make us. They get us so bitter that we come online for years and we dissect everything that they do. And we show the audience that they are nothing but a lying, deceiving organization. Look at Brumley, their famous lawyer. Sanctioned for $154,000, appealed, stood up in the appeal. The judges walked out on him. They said, we'll handle this later. They get up and lie so many times. So here's another one. I'm happy that Jehovah loves his people. And here's some comments from legal experts. They're trying to put it that you can do what you want in a religious body. No one can tell you what you're going to do. And the court in Europe and elsewhere that found the removal decisions are perfectly lawful. Well, is it lawful to do what they do to children? I would say not. And that's what we're going to talk about next. My story. Okay, so let's look at some of the claims they made in this article. Disfellowshipping is an act of love. Is it? Shunning helps individuals return to the congregation. Does it? Didn't help me. Didn't help me. Why would I want to return to false religion? Why? Tell me that. And if you watch any of my videos, it's so easy to show you in a couple lines. This organization is a liar, and Satan is the father of the lie. They lie in court. They call it theocratic warfare. This is another piece of garbage. Family relationships are not affected. They said that in the Supreme Court. NAM in Canada, he said you can carry on with normal family relationships inside or outside of the home. Just can't talk spiritual. That's what he told the Supreme Court in Canada, NAM. So let me tell you how it worked out for me. I was a Jehovah's Witness for 30 years, never committed fornication, never broke the law, never caused trouble. I complied right to the end. My daughter, she was 16, she was disfellowshipped for fornication, while a 27-year-old brother, I'll call him Brother D, from another congregation who came into my house while I was at work, and he was reproved. He was reproved. So I stood up for my daughter in the Judicial Committee, but they blamed me. And in we appealed it, and in the appeals committee, once I found out there were 6 elders, the first 3 and then 3 more, I sent my daughter to the car and I told the elders there will be no more meetings. Well, they disfellowshipped her anyways for 2 long years. 2 long years. And I had to walk on eggshells for 2 years with this religion. Good behavior, no trouble, just to get her reinstated. And when she was finally reinstated in 2011, she moved out. I sold the house, I moved too. My ex-wife, well, she took the money. She had an affair with a Hutterite man during a road trip to Texas, and I divorced her. And this is a real life impact of the Watchtower's loving discipline. Families shattered. The ex, she went back to the org, didn't tell anybody. She was never disfellowshipped. But I'm out. I quit. I'm not going to tell on her. She'll have to live her own life in that religion. So after the storm, years later, during the pandemic, this is around 2012 this all happened. And then years later, the pandemic, I ran into Brother M at the grocery store. And after 8 years of silence, what could go wrong, right? Well, in front of my wife, Shauna, who you all know, he casually mentioned that Brother P, our formal book study overseer, had been removed as an elder due to child abuse allegations. And that was news to me. Glenn, I mean Brother M. He never mentioned it again. A few weeks later, my friend Jay, an indigenous man from the Northwest Territories, asked if he could study the Bible. And at that point in time, I had a 14-year relationship with this man. And he wanted to have a study because I quit 7 years in. I quit, and I kept going up north for 7 more years. And I thought, why not? It was the virus. People are all locked up. Maybe it'd help. He struggles with alcohol, like so many JWs do. And at the time, I hadn't fully checked the doctrines myself, so I just kind of had left. Well, I connected with Jay, and I connected him with Brother M. And that's when it all fell apart. Brother M sent me a cease and desist email, accused me of being demonized, and spread the label to others, including the local chief in Jay's community. My books were discredited, my friendship destroyed, and worst of all, my daughter, who I fought so hard for, hasn't spoken to me in 5 years. No calls, no texts, no emails. And this is what JWorg calls love. So why is JWorg publishing this article now? It's PR damage control, folks. Norway is appealing the court ruling that took away their legal status over shunning. And Watchtower's trying to look soft, but you can't quite put a bow on the rotten system. The system is a problem, their system. So if there's a lawyer in Canada who wants to take this on as a pro bono, I'm open to it. But I'm not funding a legal fight. My story stands as a testament to what this organization has really done and what it does to millions and thousands and millions of people out there over the years. So for anyone listening, don't let their lies fool you. If you've been shunned, you are not alone. Keep speaking out, keep sharing your story, and remember, live your life with love. That's what counts. Now I'm just going to take a minute here and I'm going to take you over to the website again, and I'm going to show you the books I wrote. I never show anybody these things after I was demonized. You know, it changes your brain. So I started writing books. I wrote these series of books: To the Satu, Finding Purpose, From the Cosmos, A Journey to Love. I wrote all those books, sent them up to my friend Jay, the Indigenous community, and they were written all about them after 14 years. And they loved it. I was reading to them from the books. And then once Brother M studies with Jay up there, it all falls apart. I'm demonized. My books are demonized. And Brother M even sends an email to the chief, warning the chief. So I haven't sold any books. I haven't pushed them. I'm going to rewrite them eventually. Now, I did write a book called To Heaven and Back in One Night after leaving the Jehovah's Witness cult. That was after they prompted me to be an apostate. I started my channel. I started the book, started investigating why I got sucked in, and I found out why. So it doesn't take long, you know, we investigate these things and we find out. So that's kind of the rest of my story, folks. It's not a loving one. You know, when I look at this website, or this JWorg website, how do Jehovah's Witnesses treat those who used to belong to their religion? They treat them like shit. Like shit. They shun you, they disfellowship you, they treat you like you're worse than dead. This has to go away. These guys are getting away with it in Supreme Court. This has to stop. A message to the branch office in Canada: this is not over, you filthy, rotten liars. Well, take a deep breath. Sometimes it's good to get it out. But that's how we feel. That's how we feel as ex-Jehovah's Witnesses from walking out of that cult. Because we're not going back, and they have to learn to treat us with some dignity, with some kindness, and with some respect for walking out because they cover up child abuse, because it's public, and because you get counseled by pedophilia elders. And that's what happened to me. I'm not done yet, JWorg. So prepare yourself.